And there are major commonalities. If you see some of the expression of this crisis, you're going to see the crisis of the separation of powers, particularly the very strong efforts of the executive to take control over independent institutions. You're going to see a problem with the media. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that we're talking about the same crisis, and I don't believe also that the governments which normally people put together are the same governments. So I'm going to answer you with a famous Swiss joke. There was a German boy, French boy, and Swiss boy discussing where the baby comes from. And the German boy said they're coming from the sky. And basically parents pick them in front of the door. And the French boy started laughing and said they're coming from the bedroom. But then the Swiss boy became very nervous. And he said, do not generalize. It's different from canton to canton. So yes, there are commonalities, but it's different from canton to canton. There are two things about 1989 which in my view are very important for understanding this crisis. 1989 was not simply a peaceful revolution, but there was a revolution which major idea was to live like the West. But if you want to live like the West, why not to live in the West? So as a result of it, this is the first revolution in which, after the success of revolution, this is not the defeated, the enemies of the revolution, but the victorious powers that were the first to leave and to move to the West. So as a certain point of view, you have these missing liberals in most of the liberal democracies. And secondly, as a result of this created a fear, particularly keeping in mind that we're talking about aging and small societies, that integration is creating a huge problem, that people are going to emigrate, that the very fact that you're staying in your country is a kind of a loss. So this is why this basically created and helped for the emergence of the regimes which started to claim that the only place where you can feel at home is in your countries, that the only place where it makes sense to live is among people who are totally like yourself. And this type of trying to build walls, visible physical walls, to stop foreigners from coming, and invisible cultural wars, keeping your own people from living, I do believe this is at the heart of the rise of the liberal regimes that we see today. The biggest problem is that none of these small East European countries has any chance of its own in a bigger global world. So paradoxically, for these countries to matter economically, politically, culturally, they need Europe. On the other side, at the same time, it is the Europe that frustrates exactly this type of political identities they're striving for. So this is why we see this paradoxical situation in which East European governments are the most critical to the EU, East European publics are the most supportive for the EU. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that there is any positive future which any of these governments can show to their people outside of the Union.